Something I find interesting every year, every hunting season is hunters will talk about the acorns are falling, so they're not coming out to the food plots. They're staying in the woods, and the deer aren't coming out and making their normal movements. And I think it's interesting how that coincides typically with bow season openers and after that bow season opener, because really when you think about it, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Deer, when they're back in their bedding areas and where those acorns are dropping, typically they're chomping on woody browse, briars, shrub tips, and acorns. They're all in the same class. It's roughage. It's hard to digest. Acorns are hard to digest for deer. Even corn, even when the corn's up, corn is hard to digest for deer. Look how hard it is for corn to digest, for people to digest corn. So it's all roughage. And I don't see that personally on my own plots, and for the hunters that are following my designs that I develop for my clients around the country. The power of green food sources can really help you to overcome and fight off and really compete with the acorns that are dropping in the woods. And the reason is because it's a complete change of diversity and forage variety that is completely different than what they have in their bedding areas. And in their bedding areas, imagine those acorns dropping. What I've seen, these plots right out here, they're full of deer every single night. And it's because they want to come out of those hills right there, and they want to come down and they want to chomp on this green right here. This green is very easy to digest. Greens, I'm talking about brassica plantings, peas, late planted beans, clover, alfalfa, oats, wheat, rye. There's a lot of green that you can plant in your food plots to combat and fight off the effects of acorns dropping in the woods, because deer want this diversity. They want to hit this. They want to chomp it down. And so by offering a high supply of greens in your food plots, which I really believe that's the foundation of all of your food plot pyramid, that's the foundation of all your plantings. You should have green and then offer corn, then offer beans if you have room. But the greens can really help you compete with the acorns that are dropping in the woods. And why wouldn't it? It's a complete diversity change of what they're eating all day, including it's all roughage, it's all hard to digest. Doesn't matter if it's woody shrub tips, if it's briar tips, if it's hardwood regeneration, or if it's acorns. It's all roughage, it's all hard to digest. And then they want to come in here and hit these greens and wash it all down. And the reason I see when acorns are dropping, the deer aren't hitting food plots and they're not coming out into the open like they were, is because it's right after the opener bow season. So hunting pressure has been applied to the land. The deer stay back in the cover. The food plots are overhunted. You only have to hunt them once or twice and it turns them into nocturnal food sources. And deer are staying back in the woods and they're not coming out. And that kind of blends into the October lull, which is a different point. So until the rut starts, people don't see those, and hunters don't see those deer back out in the fields. And it's really just because of the application of hunting pressure at the beginning of the season, the beginning of bow season, that coincides and parallels acorns dropping in the woods, and it turns into deer that stay back in the woods. But it's not because they don't want to be in these greens, it's because they've been hunter pressured. They have food in the woods. They don't come out to the greens till after dark, and it really boils back to hunting pressure, not because the acorns are dropping. Because let's face it, they want to hit these greens, and if they have them available, and you don't pressure your food plots, and you maintain that low level of pressure throughout the hunting season, I personally don't see a drop off in the deer hitting the food plots in any way. In fact, as the season progresses, you see more and more deer on your food plots, hitting your food plots. As you maintain those food plots as sanctuaries, as part of your core sanctuary area on your property, you maintain that diversity in each of your plots with the same planting on every single plot. Those deer will come into those green food plots predictably all season long, regardless of whether the acorns are dropping or not, if you maintain a low level of pressure on your plots. Offer green, keep the hunting pressure off the green, and it's amazing how you can rely on those deer to hit the same plots at the same time every single day of the season.